Hi everyone, welcome to the online lecture, History of Japan. I'm at Iwajuku Ruins in Midori City, Gunma Prefecture. Why? Because this is very important epoch-making discovery site in the history of Japan. I'll tell you more details later. Learning is a never-ending journey. There are so many things I still don't know and want to know about history of Japan, even more so in ancient times. That's why scientific approach plays a very important role to understand about it. In these days, many unknown matters have been proven by scientific technology and analysis. In this video, I want to talk about ancient times as far as I currently understand. How the Japanese archipelago was formed, where did the Japanese people come from, and why I visited Iwajuku Ruins. Okay, let's move on. First, how the Japanese archipelago was formed. Making the long history into a very quick and simple story, Japanese archipelago was formed due to plate movement and volcanic activity. The illustration is a very rough topographic map. It's created based on an image from the Fossil Magna Museum website. About 20 million years ago, base of today's Japan was a part of Eurasian continent. Green is continent, blue is ocean. Since then, parts of the continent were removed from the main continent due to volcanic activities and fault movement. As the gap between the continent and the Japanese archipelago widened, this area subsided and seawater flowed into the area. This area became the Sea of Japan. The image is Japanese archipelago about 17 million years ago. The different movements of the plates gradually split the Japanese islands in half. This is what they looked like about 16 million years ago. The area marked with the red circle was filled with seawater and became a strait. Eventually, due to plate movement and volcanic activity, the eastern and the western parts gradually joined together again and became what Japan looks like today. The border between these two islands is called Fossa Magna, means a geological trench in Latin. Here is an enlarged image. Between the yellow lines is Fossa Magna. As you can see, Tokyo is right on top of it. It was Dr. Heinrich Edmund Naumann who named this trench Fossa Magna. He was a German geologist whose main work during his 10 years stay in Japan was to become the first professor of the Department of Geology at the University of Tokyo, where he trained Japanese geologists and engaged in geological surveys of the Japanese islands, and completed the first full-scale geological map of Japan. The figure on the right shows a cross-section view of the Fossa Magna. It's also created based on an image from the Fossil Magna Museum website. To the east are the 2,000-meter high mountains known as Echigo Mountains, and to the west are the 3,000-meter high mountains called the Northern Japanese Alps. Borehole survey was conducted to determine the depth of the Fossa Magna, but didn't reach the old rock. 6,000 meters below the surface was the deepest that could be drilled. This means that the Fossa Magna is deep enough to almost completely fit the world's highest Mount Everest. As I mentioned, this place was ocean. So, fossils of whales, fish, and shellfish have been found here. Sediments from the surrounding mountains gradually transformed the sea into land. In addition, volcanic activity began to occur beneath the Fossa Magna due to the collision of subterranean plates, resulting in the formation of many volcanoes. Some of them are still active. Mount Fuji is one of them. The white circle in the left figure is Mount Fuji. The area circled in red to the west of the Fossa Magna boundary is also known as the jade production area since prehistoric times. And here at the Fossa Magna Park in Itoigawa City, you can see the faults on the western boundary of the Fossa Magna. Under the islands, these 4 plates are still moving now. That's why we have many earthquakes, active volcanoes, and onsen all over Japan. Onsen. Ooh, I love it. There are so many different types of onsen. Please enjoy them when you come to Japan. This is today's Japan. About 70% of the archipelago is mountains and forest. And from the mountain areas, so many rivers flow to the sea. As you see it, Japan is blessed with nature. It may be easy for you to imagine how Shinto thoughts were cultivated. About Shinto, I talked about it in the last video. If you missed it, please watch. Next, where did the Japanese people come from? The origin of present human race is Africa, back in about 200,000 years ago. It's established common theory today. From there, human race started moving to different directions. According to the latest genetic studies, it's quite possible that humans arrived in Japan about 40,000 years ago. This is a rough topographic map about 30,000 years ago and shows how Japanese archipelago looked like at the time. It was an ice age. Depending on the time, the sea level between about 40,000 to 20,000 years ago was about 80 to 120 meters lower than today. Japan and Eurasian continent were much closer. There was a time when they were almost connected. So, people from north, west, and south could easily move to Japan. Some scholars said people lived in the Pacific region used to dig out canoes and sail to Japan. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Why I visited Iwajuku Ruins. Because this is the place where the great discovery of the century took place. Tools in the Stone Age. But first, let me talk about Japanese soil. Japanese islands are almost entirely covered with volcanic ash. And of course, Kanto area, including Tokyo. Let's take a look under it. Kanto Loam beds is composed mainly of volcanic ash, which was deposited before the German period. Until the end of World War II, it was common knowledge in academic circles that there were probably no humans in the Japanese archipelago before the German period, when volcanoes were erupting frequently. For example, around Iwajuku Ruins, Mount Haruna erupted about 50,000 years ago. Mount Akagi did about 40,000 years ago. Mount Asama repeated eruption many times from about 30,000 to 10,000 years ago. The mountains are part of the Fossa Magna. Volcanic ash flew from far away too, even from Kyushu Island. Still active volcano Mount Aso erupted about 90,000 years ago and ash reached today's Tokyo. About 30,000 years ago, ash of Aira caldera reached Iwajuku. Iwajuku Museum provided an image of the strata. You can see different volcanic activity in different times more clearly. The lowest strata is the oldest. Look at the layers of volcanic ash from Mount Haruna, Mount Akagi, and Mount Asama. The thinnest strata is ash flew from long way, Aira caldera in Kyushu. It's about 5 centimeters thick. Looking at these records, it's easy to imagine what will happen when the eruption occurs. And you may think, nobody could live under this difficult condition. However, in 1946, surprising news opened the door of the doubt. Tadahiro Aizawa, a native archaeologist, discovered obsidian stone tools in the Kanto Loam beds here in Iwajuku. Human races were already here in Japan before the German period. And in 1949, Mr. Aizawa and the Archaeological Laboratory of Meiji University excavated the Iwajuku Ruins. I was surprised when I saw the tools what Mr. Aizawa found at the Iwajuku Museum. It's very beautiful. I stared at it for a while. After his epoch-making discovery and successful excavation of the ruins led to the discovery of a series of the pre-German period sites throughout Japan. The number of the pre-German period sites in Japan identified today exceeds 10,000. Amazingly, one of them, older than Iwajuku Ruins, is in big city Tokyo. In 1974, many stone tools, including some partially polished stone tools packing about 38,000 years ago, were found at the construction site of a new elementary school in Kodaira City. It's now called Suzuki Ruins and was designated as National Historic Site in 2021. The tools of the site were also found in Kanto loam beds. Volcanic ash flew from Mount Fuji, Mount Hakone, and Mount Akagi. Mount Fuji is a popular destination among tourists, and Hakone is very famous for onsen resort today. Also like Iwajuku, volcanic ash from Aira caldera in Kyushu flew here. Please keep a close eye on Kanto loam beds. Volcanic ash is acidic soil. So, it's said that even if human bones were present, they would most likely have been dissolved by chemical reactions. However, in the strata at some sites, stone tools and lined up stones can be found in the volcanic ash layers. We can assume that someone brought them here after volcanoes erupted, even though you don't see any human bones and trace of the activity. They may have made stone tools or baked food there. Based on this fact, we can say that human race might already existed in Japan about 40,000 years ago, when it was in the Ice Age and volcanic activity was high. I'm just impressed by our ancestors' vitality to overcome many huge natural disasters and to pass the batons of life to us. Talking about the definition of the Stone Age, there is difference between world and Japanese history. Simply speaking, there are two types of stone tools, chipped and polished ones. The world history divides the period into the Paleolithic and the Neolithic. The main feature that distinguishes these periods is the presence or absence of polished stone tools. And it has been explained that no polished stone tools existed in the Paleolithic period. In Japan, the Jomon period is considered by many researchers to correspond to the Neolithic. However, during the earliest stage of the Paleolithic in the Japanese archipelago, from 37,000 to 35,000 years ago, stone axes with polished edges have been found in a wide area from north to south. The ones found at the Suzuki Ruins were about 38,000 years ago. Here in Japan, polished stone tools were discovered in the stratum of the Paleolithic period, which had been believed that polished stone tools did not exist. It's confusing, isn't it? That's why there is a movement to call the Paleolithic in Japan the Iwajuku period. Personally speaking, that's worth considering, because most names of the period in Japanese history were named after the sites and capital cities that played very important role in each time. But academic circles do not agree on the definition of the Paleolithic period in the Japanese history. In addition, there are stories in many places that stone tools older than 37,000 years ago have been excavated, but some researchers and academic circles have questioned about these cases. They have not been clarified yet. The mystery deepens. These are the topics I told you in this video. Well, let's move on to the next. Japan travel tips. I want to show some places I've shown in this video. Mount Fuji, the highest and holy mountain in Japan. It's one of the symbols of Japan, and it's active volcano. There are 5 lakes around it, and the mountain shows different view from each direction. And the mountain also shows you different color from the morning to the sunset. Beautiful contrast between the mountain and the pagoda at Arakura Fuji Sengen Jinja is a very famous scenic spot now. The mountain behind Lake Kawaguchi is also beautiful. Mount Fuji in the background, the thatched roof houses look like something out of a fairy tale at Iyashino Sato Nemba, close to lakeside. Climbing season is normally from July 1st to September 10th. Many Japanese people climb to the top to see sacred sunrise from there. Close to the top, there are huts. Normally people stay there and wake up at almost midnight and start climbing because there are already long line of the people who wants to see the sunrise. Mountain weather is changeable. Please plan properly and be well prepared when climbing mountains. If you don't have time for climbing, you can go up to the 5th station of the mountain, where is one of the starting points for climbing. From there, you'll see the top of the mountain very close and stunning panoramic view of mountain ranges over 3,000 meters. To go up there, you can use tour bus departing from Tokyo or Kagoshima station. Or hiring private car is also a good idea. There are many ryokans and hotels around Lake Kagoshima. Day trip from Tokyo is possible too. Let's move from Mount Fuji to here, Hakone. It's one of major and popular onsen resorts in Japan. There are so many ryokans and hotels with onsen. Hakone Free Pass allows you to travel around Hakone by taking different transportation. You can ride on mountain trains, funicular railway, ropeway, buses, and the pirate ship on Lake Ashi. You'll enjoy beautiful nature with less walk. Volcanic gas is rising at Oakudani. If weather is nice, you'll see Mount Fuji from there. Mount Fuji and the red torii gate of Hakone Jinja at Lake Ashi is beautiful contrast. After the tour, of course, enjoy onsen. Just sit back and relax. When in Japan, do what Japanese do. Mount Aso, the world's largest caldera. From east to west, about 18 kilometers. From north to south, about 25 kilometers. Inside the outer ring, volcanoes are still active. You can get closer to the crater. It's scary, but around there, you'll see pastoral scenery like Komezuka and Kusasendi. Panoramic view from Daikanbo is stunning. It's highly recommended. Daikanbo literally means the place you can see Big Buddha. From here, you see Lying Buddha. In these pictures, the left side of each is the head of Buddha. You'll see how so big the caldera is. The prairie and rice paddy fields surrounded by the mountains are beautiful. About 50,000 people living in the caldera with active volcanoes still today. Close to the mountains, there is Kurokawa Onsen. Nostalgic atmosphere makes you to spend a relaxing time. That's all. Thank you for watching. See you next time.